in the responses that I received talking about the recent changes made, I just want to know at what time were there changes? When you talk about recently, do you have a date, a month? That's all I need to know. Summer of this year, the Privy Council office set up a committee of senior officials to look into the so what issue when it comes to national security. And then the Prime Minister appointed a cabinet committee that is dealing with national security. And he is the chair of that committee. So that was after May of this summer. Perfect. Thank you. That's all for me, Madam Chair. Thank you. Thank you, too. Madam Blaney.
Thank you so much, Chair. And, you know, this is of particular importance to me as well because one of my members was also targeted. And I know that it is a growing concern. And I think that as we look at democracy, we have to do all that we can to protect it, and that means protecting the systems. So one of my questions for you is, of course, the focus right now is on the election period, which I understand and I think it's important. But we also know that there's activities happening in between elections. And even if it's targeting a particular member, it creates a trend that is concerning to me. And I know that RRM Canada leads the G7 RRM. So I'm just wondering how, if you could share with us, how are those folks coming together to talk about best practices with what's happening? And is there any discussion about having more work done in between elections to address some of these trends that we're seeing that are concerning and that sort of add up to a bigger impact during the election? What I'm worried about is if we simply are waiting to address this at election time without that sort of understanding that between election time is also very important for election time, that we're going to be missing important factors.
I can't answer the G7 part of that question because it's not in my role at the moment, but I can speak to the more general point of and start with the point that many reports have been written and notice given of the need to do more on a continuing basis to track foreign interference. And it isn't as if it's ignored in any way by the agencies that are responsible for national security, but to amplify the messages for people to understand better the threats, including parliamentarians. And you know, those are in the reports that were written after the 2019 elections, as well as the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians. The point here is that there is sort of layers to defend against foreign interference, which, as I have said before, goes on all the time. And one of those layers, if you'll permit me, Mr. Chair, is just people's understanding and ability to recognize when it's happening. And then there's the question of the diagnostic when it occurs and how we respond to it.